Hello everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Misfits Racing League. My name is Strifium. I am here on the solo cast, this evening for those in the oceanic regions though, and we are here for round 10 of the Oceanic Division. Let's take a look at the circuit. We are in Mexico today, Mexico City, for the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. I am very excited for this one. 17 turns, 4.3 kilometers. This is a very, very unique circuit in the fact that it can be so unforgiving on corner cutting. So we'll have to see how the grid here for the Oceanic Division fares around this fantastic high-speed circuit, high-altitude circuit as well. Take a look at the calendar. Brazil next week. We have Abu Dhabi for the final round of the season. We had the US last week as well for a very intense matchup. But we're here. It says round 20. That's of course because we have the Tier 2 and Tier 1 divisions taking to racing action later this evening for those in the UK, 9:15 and 11:15 p.m. GMT respectively for those races. We are here for the Oceanic Division, and let's take a look at who is going to be on the grid today for this split. We have Apollo Pepsi and Big Impulse over at Mercedes, with Stars and Trin over at Ferrari. McCown Red Panda for Red Bull, Rez and Yukio over at McLaren with Combined, YouTuber and Ruben for Renault. It's Wangod and Psycho for AlphaTauri, with Zaino and Ben the Bear at Racing Point. Revo and Maz for Alfa Romeo. Big Al and Gazieg for Haas, with Simdaga and T-Mac rounding out the 20 racers on this grid. Take a look at the standings. There has been a change of leadership in the standings as Revo has been absent for a couple of rounds. So, and the Bear, 164 points in lead of the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Revo is still there in second, 142 points. However, he has Mikau failing him by only 2 points the margin right now, the Red Bull in third. It is Racing Point, Red Bull, and Alpha, your top three in the Constructors' Championship. We take a look at the Steward Report. Following USA Round 9, Domi receives 2 penalty points and 5 seconds for causing a collision. Cars has received 5 penalty points and 5 seconds for an unsafe rejoin / dangerous driving. So we want to keep an eye on that. Try not to get into any situations. But with all of that, I think we are going to be good to go racing here. And we're going to get our roll of the dice. We're going to have 18 minutes of qualification. Now, I do believe we are going to have 15 racers here for this Oceanic Division today, which I think might be one of the lower driver totals we've had for the Oceanic split this season. But can't necessarily say anything about that, considering it is the Mexican Grand Prix, and I know this to be a not favorite. This is definitely not the favorite circuit of a lot of these racers. That I can say for certain. I can definitely say it in my case. To drive it is not the most ideal experience with the strict corner cutting, as well, at the very least for me, I end up using a little bit too much of the circuit. I suppose that's why I'm here commentating. But of course, if you're in the chat, if you're viewing along, welcome in. And hopefully we can have ourselves a nice, fantastic Oceanic Grand Prix. 15 racers here, just waiting on T-Mac to get things all loaded up and into session. We're going to have that roll of the dice as well for the weather. I am definitely looking forward to that. We have not had any severe rainfall come down yet in our week of races. This is the 2nd out of 5 races that we have around Mexico this week. So we have 2 more this evening for those in the UK, as I mentioned earlier. And then we have another race tomorrow, so that will wrap up 5 races. And it looks like a little bit of cloudy weather here in the qualifying, so that's something interesting to see. Let's take a look at things. Gazieg, Yukio, Apollo, Combined YouTuber. We have Panda, Ben the Bear, Ruben. Freewares here in a reserve capacity over at AlphaTauri, if I'm not mistaken. I'm losing my mind. Did he get a full-time drive? Now I'm definitely feeling the 6:30 a.m. memory loss. PTR there in P9, Stars in P10 on the timing tower at the moment. We've already got one car leaving the pit lane. That's a Mercedes. We'll check in with him in a moment. That's Apollo, but Trin, Simdaga, Big Al on this grid as well. Apollo, first driver out of the pit lane here in Mexico. And I've been given the forecast. The forecast is dry throughout, and that is going to be, I imagine, big news for a lot of these racers. Nobody wants to see rainfall. So Apollo will be the first racer here to come through the circuit. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here in Mexico City. And I have to say, to watch the racing around this circuit is one thing, driving it an entirely different affair. This intricate second sector S's. Very easy to invalidate, very easy to lose your lap, and also potentially lose the balance of the car. Then you come in through sector 3, this intricate left right section where you come through the stadium, all the grandstands, you know, just front and center. Bit of a snap out from Apollo as he begins his lap, but here we go, the Mercedes now. DRS wide open on the rear as we head down this very, very long straight into turn 1. It's a very long run from the start of this race into turn 1, and that causes issues for some of these races. Very tight through the curbs now on the inside, on the exit. DRS wide open once again on the rear, the second DRS zone of the lap. Big lock up there from the front left as we come in through the first left, now right. Coming through into the double right now as we make our way through sector 2. In through the S's now, first left-hander. Switching back to the right, left. Let's see what we're able to do. Keeping things in 6th. Riding the curbs. Coming into the stadium section now. So far it's looking like a good first lap here for Apollo Pepsi in this Mercedes. What's he going to do out of the final turn? Bit of a slide there. Bring a bit of that curb. It's going to be a 1:14.846. Next driver to come through is going to be Ben the Bear. However, Ben the Bear on an invalidated run, heading into the pit lane. Ruben in the Renault now. There goes pole position for him, a 1:14.810. The Williams behind him will be heading into the pit lane. That's going to be Simdaga. Now Freeware to the line there. He goes a 1:13.8. The German will be thrilled about that lap time. ETR now in the McLaren will be next to come through on a lap. However, he has invalidated this run. Keen to see if he will cross through again. No. It will be a trip to the pit lane for him. Trin in the Ferrari will be rounding out the final turn with a P2 time, a 1:14.482 for the Ferrari. Now I do believe it is going to be a Panda, a 1:14.564 in the Red Bull. Very neat time out of him, and things are starting to tighten up in the front end already. Combined YouTuber in the Renault has now just began a flying lap. Apollo has come into the pit lane, and Ruben will be headed into the pit lane as well. Not too many drivers out on active flyers. Curious to see how Combined fares here on his first run. DRS wide open for the Renault. Purple sector 1 as we make our way through sector 2 now, and this is a circuit where a lot of these drivers can find or lose a ton of time and struggle. Dropping things down in 5th, up to 6th. Going through the final 2 sections of the sector, and there's a bit of an issue, a bit of a snap. Up into 8th gear now. Coming through this final stadium section here, all the grandstands. Front and center out of the final turn. Let's see how we go. The Renault P6, a 1:16.325, and you know that he will not be too impressed with that lap. T-Mac putting some laps in on these mediums. No valid time set just yet in the session. And the Bear will be beginning another run. And the Bear, your current Drivers' Championship leader, is more than likely the favorite for pole here. He is also coincidentally in Sergio Perez's racing point. Sergio Perez, of course, the Mexican driver. A home circuit here for him. So a home Grand Prix for the Mexican driver of Sergio Perez. However, Ben the Bear, Thai nationality, is filling things in. He is the driver championship, and considering how the racing points went in the European split here on Tuesday, they took a 1-2 with the Mexican hometown hero of Angel taking the win. We'll see if Ben can continue the nice festivities over on at the Racing Point squad. He is the only Racing Point on the grid today, and he has unfortunately just invalidated his time once again coming out of the S's. We'll see if he has enough fuel in that car to go around once again without having to pit, or if he'll even want to do so given the tire situation in Mexico. Tires in Mexico can be a tricky thing. You can see now he has decided to come back in. I think he's got the same idea as me. Mikau now coming through the stadium section. We'll be looking to set a lap. I think Simdaga will be setting just ahead of him. Simdaga goes 6th quickest. Mikau now rounding out the final turn, will not be finishing this lap. Ruben on a flyer, looking to improve that 1:14.810. He had some tough luck around here on Tuesday. We'll see if he's able to do something about it. PTR getting himself into 4th position in that McLaren. Yukio, his teammate, has just began a lap behind him. But a 1:14.780 out of PTR. Very nice from him. You can see his teammate Yukio coming down into turn 1 now. No time on the board just yet for Yukio here. Jump on ahead with Ruben. Ruben has invalidated his time in that Renault, so he will not be able to improve on this run. Yukio will not be improving as well. So this is something that I can say for certain in the European split. In the qualifying, there was a ton of invalidated runs. And with that, you see all those invalidated runs in the qualifying sessions, you know what's coming in the race. You're going to see a decent amount of corner cutting and exceeding track limits penalties. And these drivers need to understand that. When they're watching a qualifying and they can see these track maps lighting up red like Christmas trees, they need to be aware that that could translate into the race, and they could base strategy on the fact that their counterparts, their rivals, may just have penalties. Ghazi, I do hope you finish this campaign with 0 penalties, my friend, as you've come to tell me that. Good luck to you, sir. Good luck to you. It would be quite the feat for you. I'd be thrilled for you should you do it. I was fortunate enough to do it in my Apache race, so no penalties around here, a feat of its own. But Yukio right now will be looking to put in a clean lap. The first lap set from him. And Ben the Bear has just began in the racing point not too far back, and T-Mac as well in the Williams will be running. And there goes Yukio with a big slide, looking to recover. Ferrari of Stars moving, no, not Stars, excuse me, Trin moving through. Panda has just crossed into the front row. A P 2 effort out of him. A very nice time, a 113.987. The second driver to enter the sub 114s. What can Trin do? No improvement, and it looks like that lap has now been dropped. Take a look at Ben the Bear has retired the car in the pit lane, it would seem. T-Mac. Big invalidation out of the Williams here, where we've seen so many drivers already invalidate. Big Al now flying. Big Al in the Haas, 4th in this championship. We'll see what he's able to do. Ben coming into the chat letting us know that he lost the rear and the car broke. Well, that is quite unfortunate. No time set from you. But you're going to have to do some hunting. Big Al now coming through the stadium section. P3, a 114 flat, a 114.081, the time out of the Haas. That's a neat time. T-Mac coming through the double right section. This is where we've seen so many drivers invalidated. How is he going to come out of this exit? Does he go wide? No. He keeps it clean. Coming in through all the grandstands now in this final section of circuit, nearly running the curbs there, keeping things very, very tight. The Williams now powering out of the final turn. What's the time? P6, a 114.484. We take a look at the gap to leader now. First down through 7th, 972. The times for Ruben, it is 1 second the gaps on this grid. Somebody else has just jumped into things, and that's Simdogga into P5, a 114.292, further pushing back that gap to leader. So second to P9 at the moment with Ruben there on an outlap. A few of these drivers are going to be... We have 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying. Dog, I just on an in lap now, cruising along. Freeware is about to finish up a lap in the AlphaTauri. He has improved coming out of Sector 2 according to race control. As we come out of the final turn now, powering down the AlphaTauri. What's the time going to be? Is it an improvement? Yes. Yes, it is. It is a 113.727. Ladies and gentlemen, the updated pole position time here in Mexico. Ruben, the South African driver in the Renault. This morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you may be joining us. Coming through Sector 2 now. Very, very important not to invalidate. However, it is not an improved time. Not at the moment. See if Ruben chooses to finish here or if he chooses to come in and potentially go out again. It looks like there will be a finish to this run. What's the time going to be? It is not an improvement, as we have Impulse joining us over at Mercedes, getting things fired up. Yukio has just began a run. And Ruben will be carrying through on another run, it would seem. A fuel light on, we'll see if he's just burning it. But yes, things are starting to tighten up as these drivers look to improve on their times. You can see PTR and Ruben very, very close right now. 300ths precisely separating those two drivers in 8 and 9. Freeware has Panda just 2.5 tenths off of him, sitting there on the front row as things are looking at the moment. We'll see if Ruben chooses to finish out this run here, as it is an improvement. A little bit less fuel in the car this time around. Important to keep that time through Sector 3. Perhaps pick up a little bit of time. Here we go again to the line. What's it going to be out of the Renault? Is it going to be an improvement? Yes, it is. It's going to be enough to set him ahead of P9 into P8. 10th improvement out of the South African. Neatly done. Yukio, still no time on the board. Coming through once again. Turn 1. A couple of other drivers out right now. The Haas of Big Al on a run. Take a look as we come through the S's. Very, very tight. Nearly running it wide and exceeding with an invalidation here as we come across. Let's see how things go for Big Al. Out of the penultimate turn. Through the final turn now. The time. What is it going to be for the Haas? No improvement. So that is going to be a 1:14.081, the quickest time out of Big Al for this session. A couple of Ferraris now out on lap. Stars has just begun. Yukio has kept this lap valid. First time out of the McLaren. What's it going to be? P6, a 1:14.451. Neatly done. Gauzy Egg on a run, coming out of the S's now. No time set yet from Gauzy. He's had a little bit of practice around here this week. Took a P9 here on Tuesday. See what he's able to do right now. Currently 12th on the timing tower. One of the only drivers in this session not to get a time in, but that's about to change. To the line now, the time. It is not going to be good enough to get himself out of 12th position. A 1:17.578. Stars now has big plans in the Ferrari as the Williams drivers have crossed the line. Not entirely sure. I think that might have been T-Mac who has just begun a flyer. Yes, it was. Impulse has retired. Stars now goes pole position. A 1:13.7 out of the Ferrari. What a time out of Stars. Freeware is currently flying to perhaps undo that, and somebody else who's flying is Mikal. Mikal, crucially now in this constructors the drivers championship, 2 points off of Revo. Revo not here today. Those Alfa Romeos have at this point in the season begun to get picked off from that constructors lead position they were in. Here we have Mikau now coming through out of the S's. Flying with the DRS wide open on the rear into the right-hander. What is this time going to be? The Australian driver. If I say that throughout the entire broadcast, I'd be saying it a lot. Majority of the racers here in this split are, of course, from the land down under. If you're tuning in, this is the Oceanic Division. Mikau now P10. He's on the mediums, a 1:14.579. Beware. Did have an answer for Stars. The German driver flying for pole secures pole position here, a 1:13.616. You look at the gap to leader between him and Stars right now, less than a tenth. 0.86. The differential between those two. And with all of those times finally coming across now and the countdown striking to 0, the checkered flag being waved on this session. That is Freeware on pole position, done and dusted. Once again, Freeware on pole position. Stars on the front row lining up next to him in the Ferrari P2. Very, very quick times out of those two on the front row. We have Simdaga in third with Panda lining up next to him on the second row. Big Al rounds out the top 5 here. Apollo 6th, Trin 7th, T-Mac in 8th, Yukio in 9th. That's Mikau rounding out your top 10. And then for the bottom 6, we have Ruben, PTR combined, Gauzy Egg, and Ben the Bear Impulse. No time set. Ben the Bear, no time set in this session. Of course, Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Strifium. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat who is going to win this race. Who is going to be on the podium. Well, welcome back to Mexico. We have some nice sun in the sky, and if you're just tuning in, my name is Strifium, and we have 16 drivers to go racing here around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It is Mexico City, and this is a thrilling, fast-paced circuit. Not the biggest fan of it personally as far as driving it at the at the league capacity in the game, but I can say that watching the racing around here is quite thrilling and has been so far this week. We've had one race around here, the European split on Tuesday, which provided Unicorn and I with a very, very action-packed experience. I'm sure those that tuned in can say the same. Here we go, though, for the Oceanic split. Thank you so much to everybody tuning in. We are going to have the formation lap, and as we go on this lovely formation lap and the tour around this lovely circuit once again, let's take a look at who will be racing on this grid. Freeware on pole position in the AlphaTauri. Stars lines up next to him in the Ferrari. Of course, Simdaga there in the Williams third. Panda in fourth. We have Big Al in fifth position for this one. Apollo is in sixth. Trin in seventh. T-Mac in eighth. Yukio in ninth, with Mikau rounding out the provisional points sitters in this one. Ruben in 11th, PTR 12th, or Peter as Seb and I have been calling him on and off, combined in 13th. Ghazi 14th position in this one, and the Bear, the current drivers championship leader, in 15th position. Impulse 16th on this one, with hard compound tires the choice out of him. Now let's take a look at tires. We have drivers 1 through 9 all on the softs. Then you see a complete change. These drivers, Mikau, he qualified 10th on those medium compound tires. Ruben down through Ben the Bear, all choosing those mediums as well. And then you have Impulse there on the hards, looking to do something a little bit different. Now, something that we've seen is an opening lap safety car. We saw it in the European split on Tuesday. We'll have to see if we see it again here today. Let us know in the chat what you think about safety cars. The Oceanic split, not the biggest safety car provoking grid that we have on offer. Of course, this is, if you're just checking into things, the second of 5 Mexican Grand Prix here on the Misfits Racing League Twitch channel. This week we have the Tier 2 and Tier 1 action coming to you at 9:15, 11:15 p.m. GMT respectively for those in the UK. But it's time to go racing here Oceanic style, and it is Freeware, Stars, Simdaga, your top 3 as we wait for these lights to come on here in Mexico City. All drivers now on the grid. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Mexico City. The drivers are away. We are racing, and you can see a big puff up of smoke as Simdog and Panda have already had an exchange. There goes Yukio around the outside of a driver. That is the Mercedes. Trin's in there as well in the Ferrari. Let's take a look at things down in turn 1. Freeware still leading Panda. Stars wheel to wheel. This is Simdogga with the front row seat at the moment. Stars has now been overtaken by the Red Bull. Big Al has his foot in on the Williams as well. Does he take Simdogga? There's a lot of exchanging right now. Panda, Stars, very tight. Not too much contact. Things are so intense on this race start now. Stars has made it in to keep that. Well, he's sticking with Freeware quite well. He's held off Panda here, but now his teammate Trin wheel to wheel with Apollo. This is very, very touch and go between these two. Still wheel to wheel. Yukio front row seat to this action. Trin now has lost off the rear of Apollo, but this has exposed him to Yukio. Big lunge up the inside. This has put Trin a little bit wide through. On the defense, how's it going to go? The other McLaren is through. PTR looking to get through on his teammate. Things are still very intense. There is Mikau. Mikau Mikhail's had a bit of an issue. He's dropped off PTR. Oh, I've had a little bit of a desync with the spectator. PTR has made it through. There's a huge train right now in this grid. Things have already dropped off at the front of things. Mikhail is not leading this race. He is currently following along behind the rear of this Williams of T-Mac. And there's a big train of cars through this grid. Trin is starting to become a cork in the bottle here. He is starting to really plug up the rear of this grid. And Yukio, Ben, PTR, T-Mac, Mikhail, they are all going to want to fly through on these racers. You can see right now the interval's not quite up to date. It's showing Mikhail a lot tighter than he is to the rear of this Williams. But this could change very soon. Key thing to note, Ben the Bear and PTR, medium compound tires. T-Mac on these softs, not doing so good right now on the opening lap of this race. Things right now, Freeware Stars, Panda, your top three, Big Al in fourth, Hunting, and you have Simdaga in fifth, Apollo, sixth position. Trin is just dancing within that DRS range, and he really has to keep things within that DRS range. Yukio right now is going to be the one under major threat, as DRS has been enabled on lap 3. Ben the Bear and PTR will have the ability to hunt next time around. As I say that, T-Mac moves ahead up the inside. PTR now, will he have an answer for this? Does he go with a lunge back up the inside? Yes, he does. As we come down into turn 1, he does not have enough space to get that move back around on the Williams. T-Mac, though, picking up a little bit of dirt on the inside through the next turn. Now on the DRS straight, Mikhail smells the blood. He wants it. T-Mac has dropped a position. Or has he? It's wheel to wheel. Mikhail giving him space, but it's another move. There's a bit of an issue. That is the Williams tapping the rear of the McLaren, and this has really given Mikhail an opportunity to move through on the inside. Has he made the move stick? The McLaren now with a look back to the inside, a little bit of a love tap. Both of these racers are on the mediums. This is very, very intense. Not too much doing in the middle of this grid right now. Ben the Bear has made it ahead, 2.2 seconds ahead of Mikhail. Yukio has him in the rear view, and he's not going to be thrilled about this. Yukio has come into the pit lane now. There's something going on with these soft compound tires. Big Impulse has taken a penalty as well. Ben in the 8th position. Mikhail, it was 2.2 seconds a few moments ago. It has started to climb down for Mikhail in that Red Bull. PTR and Ruben now. Ruben on the inside, combined just ahead. And looking at T-Mac having lockups, is going to be wanting to get 10th position away from that Williams as well. Ruben has now dispatched PTR, and it seems like there's a few drivers struggling here. Going to take at the front end of this McLaren. Take a look and see if he has damage. Yes, there it is, a front right end plate. We knew something had to be happening on the front end of that car. Now, Big Al within half a second of Panda throughout this race. We're going to lock into things on the front end as Panda with a big slip out of the rear. Coming through the S's. Do that too many times, and that's race done and dusted, and Big Al is going to be looking to put the pressure, because now that he's seen that, he knows there is room to play, and Simdaga, I imagine, has picked up the scent on this as well in the Williams, so things could heat up quite well for this battle into third. DRS for Big Al. See what he's able to do about that charging bull. DRS wide open on the rear wing. You can see Panda very, very tight to the inside. He's going to squeeze himself back into the racing line now. There goes Al around the outside. This is going to give Panda a switchback opportunity, or is it? Al, very neatly done, gets through, in Simdaga. DRS now for him. He is going to give Panda serious pressure to deal with now. There he goes around the outside. How are we going to do things now? Through into the double right. Well, the triple right, theoretically speaking, but that is going to be Simdaga through into 4th position. Big Al now can see the Williams in his rear view mirrors, and Apollo has picked up on this, and it looks like Panda has started to struggle here. Maybe those slips through this section of circuit last time around, putting a little bit of unwanted temperature into those tires. And look at this exit out of Apollo. He's taken penalties, as has Panda. Let's take a look at things now. 6 seconds for Panda, 3 seconds for Apollo. You can see Freeware leading things has 3 seconds, and that's not going to be good with a charging Ferrari of Stars looking at him in his rearview mirrors. I'd say that for certain. T-Max got 3 seconds as well. He's tight to the rear of Mickown. It's going to be Trin with the front row seats to the Apollo Panda duel in this Ferrari, and he's got no penalties right now, and he'll be wanting to keep things that way. With the DRS, he's going to look to keep up with these drivers ahead. Good race so far, I have to say. It's been very intense. Can't look else much. Well, you can't look around too much here. Simdaga, you see there's another driver to step in to the penalty the penalty club, I suppose you could say. And locking up, looking at this. Yeah, this is Apollo really hunting down Panda here. Panda, I think he has a little bit too much temperature in his tires at the moment. We'll have to see how he fares throughout this race. Softs, of course, very quick to burn out here in Mexico. It's a long campaign. Of course, if you're just tuning in, we are about to go into lap 7 out of 36. This is a very intense matchup, and it's all the way up and down this grid. And with these penalties coming through, that can really shake things up when you have a grid this tightly matched. You have a few of these drivers, PTR, Yukio, they've had to come in for early pit stops. The McLaren's not too thrilled about it. The rest of this grid starting to space itself out in the back end of things. Ben the Bear on the inside of Trin. As we make our way into turn 1, that is clear 7th position now for Ben. And he has really got to fly through on these medium compound tires, get these positions as he can. Panda with the DRS, it's not going to be enough to hold off Apollo. Apollo now into 5th position. A big lunge out of Panda. I'm afraid that may have been a little bit late. A little bit of contact there. He is going to lose a position as a result. Ben the Bear had the front row seat. He slips through into 6th, and those lunges, those lockups are not going to give Panda a good time on these tires at all here. You can see another snap coming through Sector 2 in these S's. Trin has the front row seat. He has the scent. He wants to get a taste of that blood in the water. Coming into the stadium section, you can see the lockups coming hard and fast here for Panda. He's sliding around quite significantly. There we go again. There's another slide. There he goes. He's lost it. He's really spinning around now. He's got to get a donut done to try and get that car rotated. He's lost a massive amount of position, and I can only imagine he jumps into the pit lane here for fresh tires. These tires are done. Now, Apollo has had Ben the Bear dispatch him for 4th position. Trin not too far behind. We'll be looking to catch up with Apollo now. 1.3 seconds. The very key thing to note here is where Ben the Bear started this race. You take a look at things. He started this race in 15th. He's now up into 4th on the mediums. He's made up 11 positions in this one. So he is on fire, the Thai driver. Things starting to space themselves out now. We take a look at the stops on this one. We've had 4 drivers come in. Big Al, Yukio, Panda being the most recent, and him and PTR look like they are exchanging. So Panda has made it ahead of the McLaren now for 15th position. PTR, we're going to look at this real quick. He's going to have a run back on the inside. Big lock up there already on the mediums. Cold tires. What is PTR able to do on these softs? Is he able to work around this Red Bull? It's very tight battling between these two. You love to see it. Coming through now into the S's section. A little bit older rubber for PTR here. Not a lot of temperature into these tires for Panda just yet, as Stars has pulled the pin. The Ferrari has come in to the pit lane. He's jumped onto the medium compound tires, and it looks like it's going to be a soft, medium, soft run out of the Ferrari here. So he's looked for an undercut on Freeware. The big question is, how does the AlphaTauri respond to this? Big Impulse has made it into 10th position ahead of the Ferrari as well as a result of that pit stop. Stars coming out now just behind him. Combined and Ruben 8-9 right now for the Renault. squad. They are going to be looking to collectively catch up with T-Mac, who is on the older tires ahead. Stars and Impulse wheel to wheel right now. Stars really showing a lot of traction on these mediums, of course, compared to Impulse's starting hard compounds tires. That is the Ferrari into 10th position. Things still very heated. Very heated. Lockups happening for the McLaren and Red Bull, still fighting as we make our way through Sector 2 now. It is a fight for 15th position presently. Fresh Mediums getting the better of this exchange for the moment as Freeware has responded. What is going to happen here? Where is Stars going to land with this undercut? Has this paid off for him? Freeware now is dropping out. Where is Stars? He's coming down. The undercut has not worked, but it has still kept him very tight to the rear of this AlphaTauri. And he will be within that DRS range, especially as we make our way through turns 1 through 3. See how things go for Stars here. Does he have that DRS? No, he does not. That is crucial, absolutely crucial for Freeware at this phase of the race. Mikau absolutely hunting Trin. Medium compound tires are starting to show some good form in comparison to these older softs. If you're enjoying the race, let us know in the chat. Greatly appreciate all of the support as always. This has been a thrilling campaign. There has been a lot of overtaking, a lot of intensity, and a lot of tight battling. Simdaga now has come into the pit lane. Apollo has joined him. Where is Trin? Trin is in the pit lane. And this has now put Ben the Bear, the current Drivers' Championship leader. Of course, he is in lead of things right now. Mikau is in second, and we have had a VSC deployment. There has been an issue. Panda is out of this race in the Sector 2S section. PTR coming through in 15th. And it is very unfortunate to see Panda out of this race. Not entirely sure what happened, if it was a loss of control or if there was an issue of some kind battling, as we saw him and PTR doing the dance for some time. But it is Simdaga having Impulse now unfortunately make contact with the rear of the Williams as the drive-through penalty has now been awarded to Apollo. The Mercedes have just had a major stroke of bad luck here. A major stroke of bad luck. There goes the Ferrari up the inside. There goes Apollo into the rear of Impulse, and Trin has just skated through on both of these Mercedes. What has happened over there for the Mercedes camp? I imagine there has been an entire desk flip over in that pit lane. That was very unfortunate, and the Ferrari squad is going to be thrilled about it. Freeware, of course, the leader of this race, the net leader of this race, given the fact that he, of course, is now the lead driver who has come in and had a change of rubber. He'll be looking to catch things up with combined YouTuber in 4th position. Follow, serving that drive-through penalty. Or has he served the drive-through penalty? No, he has not. He has had a change of tires. Is combined in Freeware. Freeware gets that move easily done into 4th position on the inside. Stars. Combine just lets him straight through. Combine has just pulled off. No point in fighting. Stars says, hey, just move on through. You can pass. And this is going to be music to Stars' ears as he needs to get within DRS of Freeware. Pronto, as his team principal would say. Simdaga has a charging Haas in his rearview mirrors at the moment. Big Al within half a second. Here we have it now. Freeware with the DRS. I do not believe Stars has it, and this is going to give Well, Freeware, a great opportunity. A great opportunity to move on through on the inside. Does he get it done? Yes. Ruben not fighting him. A little bit of a lockup on the defense, and this is going to give a nice opportunity to Stars DRS this time around for the Ferrari. Does he have a look at Ruben on the inside? He definitely puts the pressure. I don't think he was planning on taking the position right there. I think he was just looking to put that pressure in, make sure that that scarlet red Ferrari is visible in the rear view mirrors of the Renault ahead. And Apollo and Impulse are both out of this race, as the yellow flags have been popping up to indicate that. Here we have it now. Stars with the DRS. Nope, not yet, not yet. There's a very long straight here in Mexico, and I think Stars is going to utilize that to be quite safe in this overtaking opportunity. Looks like the retired vehicle of Apollo is on circuit, as he did retire the car in the pit lane. We know that for a fact. Here goes Stars up the inside. Not much Ruben can do about this. That DRS so powerful down such a straight. So powerful. Stars having a stellar drive, and he's been looking for one of these for quite some time. Apollo's AI car, unfortunately, remaining on circuit after the driver retiring in the pit lane. After a very unfortunate race for the Mercedes camp, there it is, pulled off to the inside now. The outside. Excuse me, but Big Al keeping up with Simdaga. This grid still quite tight. We have had no safety car, just the VSC in this one. We are just about, oh, we're not even halfway through yet. We have a few more laps to go before we get to that point, but we are on lap 14 out of 36. I hope you're enjoying this race, because it has been quite the thriller. And something else to throw a monkey wrench into the equation is now that Ben the Bear has taken, well, a 3-second time penalty. Mikal has slotted himself into second position in this race between two 3-second penalty runners, and he has not yet come in off of his tires. Neither has Ben. Ben, however, showing great pace, absolutely great pace in this race. Combined has made the call to come off the 15-lap-old mediums. Going for another set of mediums. So Combined is going for a dedicated 2-stop strategy. He's come off of the mediums onto another set of medium compound tires, which guarantees that he must pit once again for another set of tires, whether they be softs or hards. Simdaga in 6th right now. 3-lap fresher rubber, but has Al just sticking with him on the 6-lap-old mediums quite well. And this is exactly what Simdaga does not want. He does not want the pressure in his rearview mirrors. He wants to catch things up with Ruben, even though Ruben is going to have to come in, as is Mick, as is Ben. Simdaga could be in quite a good running position here, but Al not really giving him the opportunity to pull away, well, by himself, we'll say. Mikal has pulled the pin. The Red Bull heading his way into the pit lane for a nice fresh set of rubber. What tires is he going to be getting on? It's going to be a fresh set of white-walled tires. You have the hards going on. Ruben has had a completely different strategy choice pulled out here. He's going to be going on softs. He's going to be coming out just ahead of Mikal. Very interesting strategy choice coming out of Ruben there. So Simdaga now holding on to 4th position here. Ben the Bear yet to pit in this one. Simdaga about 18 seconds away from Ben the Bear right now. It'll be a curious thing to see whether or not anyone overtakes Ben the Bear between Sim or Big Al. I think we'll see Freeware and Stars do it, because they were the leaders when they came in. They got onto those nice fresh mediums. combined, hunting down Yukio. Yukio, 11 laps old on those mediums now, and Ben the Bear has come in and come out. He's on his way out. Stars and Freeware have made their way into their lead positions. Big Al and Simdaga, of course, are going to now overtake Ben the Bear, but he is not that far behind, and he's on these hards, and he can go to the end. Wheel exchange, though. There goes Al on the inside of Sim. In the Haas now, third position for him. And he'll be thrilled about it because he's going to have that DRS to salt the wound as well. Combined. Ooh, Combined and Mikau doing a little bit of work right now. Yukio is losing out to both of them as we make our way through 1 and 2 out of 3 now as well. DRS for both of them, and Yukio is not going to be too thrilled about it. Ben the Bear in 5th position. Look at the speed that he is gaining right now on these drivers ahead. Simdaga and Al have big problems, and Ben the Bear is right at the top of that list. Here we have it, the run now. PTR has retired the car. There has been a crash of some capacity through Sector 2. Ben the Bear gets ahead of Simdaga. Big lunge. He does not have Big Al just yet, but he's showing great traction and maneuverability right now. Great command of this car, and there goes Al. Ben the Bear into 3rd position. Easy as you like. Not much these drivers can do about him on the fresh rubber right now. He will be looking to go to the end of this campaign on those hards. A little bit of a slide out from Al, and Sim will have the opportunity to see this and potentially pick up on it. Simdaga not going to be happy taking the penalties. We talked a little bit about penalties in qualifying and throughout this race, but you can see now the penalties really are going to play a role here. Somebody that is going to be happy about penalties, should they be able to stick with these racers, is Al. You know, he wants to stick with Ben the Bear. Ben the Bear has 3 seconds, and that could mount as we are now just halfway through this race. Past halfway through last lap. But the penalties are shaping up to accumulate by the end of this one. We have drivers with 9 seconds in the cases of Simdaga and T-Mac over at Williams. We've seen Al and Sim follow each other along in a reversed order for some time, and now we have Sim hunting down that Haas back just the same, and he has that DRS range on Al right now, and this is crucial given the fact that Sim is going to be on the fresher rubber when this thing starts to really come down to the final phase. But I think we're going to see Al and Sim pit once again. The big question is, I think we're going to see a lot of these medium runners come in for another set of softs. We haven't had any safety car. We've had 4 retirements, however. 16 drivers began this race. We are down to 12 in the running. No drivers have been lapped, I don't believe. Not yet, anyway. Freeware and Stars, I think, being on the 2-stop may just see no drivers lapped in this race. We'll have to see by the end of it. Don't want to make any bold predictions just yet. Ruben has Trin in his sights, and the key thing here is that Ruben on a very unique strategy here with these softs. He started this race on the mediums. Now he's going to just swallow up this Ferrari here with some super speed into turn 1 with a nice cut into the front optimal line. A bit of a lockup there. Would have been nice without the lockup if he was able to, you know, sweep and clean his way through. Simdaga and Al, this tightest grid. The tightest grid, or the tightest gap on this grid. And those asking, Mr. Neon, good to see you, sir. Yes, I am solo commentating. I actually quite enjoy solo commentating. DRS, it just isn't enough at the moment for Sim to really get something done on Al here. Such a carry of speed, but look at the battery. Look at the battery for these two drivers. Decent exit here, but both of these, nobody's expending battery. And I think Sim needs to start to use that battery. These long... I'm one of these people, I'm going to tell you, these strategies where you see someone sit on someone all day with a full battery. Historically speaking, I have never seen them end well, and I've seen a ton of races. Push, please. Push, please. That's literally what I would be saying over at Williams. Genuinely believe that he needs to be pushing here. Tell us what you think in the chat. I'm saying us as if I have another commentator with me. I swear I'm not losing my mind. Even at 7:25 in the morning. Yeah, he's really got him here. He's got tire. He has the tire advantage of 3 laps. He has a battery advantage of nearly 30%, 40%. And it could be that he's just utilizing his pace to wear down. There goes Big Al. There's contact. And this, get him out of the way. Why are you putting yourself in this position, Simdaga? I don't understand, sir. This is going to cost you overall, not get you anywhere. Look at the time of Big Al between Ben the Bear and tell me that this isn't costing Simdaga. Ruben's catching as well. Yeah, he's on the soft compound tires, and as soon as he enters this equation, it's not going to be good for these racers. Oh, Al has decided to pit. I don't know about this. Soft, surely, but I don't know if you can make that right. Oh, and we've had a major issue. T-Mac. The other Williams has had a bit of a mishap outside of the S's in Sector 2 where we saw Panda. So now we've had a VSC. And I have to say, this has been massive for Al. This has been massive because he's come in under VSC conditions. Medium compound tires to the end now for the Haas. And this has really given him... Well, he's gained a lot of time out of this. He's gained a ton of time out of this. And who's lost out in this? Simdaga has a full battery. Of course, we're under VSC conditions. Nobody's burning it, but I think Simdaga has absolutely been nailed to the wall by this. Absolutely nailed to the wall. And Ben the Bear has just taken a drive-through penalty. Ben the Bear has just taken a drive-through penalty on the VSC restart, and it looks like somebody was maybe getting caught exploiting something that has been rectified for nearly 2 weeks. VSC's gonna be a fickle beast. Ruben 1.5 on the rear now of Simdaga. Into P4, Trin 2.2 behind on the 12-lap-old mediums, and Ben the Bear has immediately served his drive-through penalty. He's on 6-lap-old hards now in 7th position. And Big Al, 6.3 seconds is the current gap to combined YouTuber. It's lap 24. Let's keep that in our view. I imagine Mikau not going to be too thrilled that he has Ben the Bear in his rearview mirrors at the moment, but this will be good for Mikau in the sense that he has no penalties and he could potentially try to stick with Ben the Bear. There hasn't been many opportunities for Mikau to race with Ben in this past little while. And the Bear has been running very, very hard and hot engine modes, we'll say. He's been pushing. See, he's already made up a massive amount of positions, and taking that drive-through penalty was the last thing that he wanted to do. But Ben the Bear has definitely explained to me over the course of my time commentating his driving that he definitely likes when these challenges present themselves. Bryn right now has Mikau chasing him down. Here we have Mikau now on the outside, easy as you like, into turn 1. 5th position, Trin sticking very tight to the rear of the Red Bull. Well, I have to say Mikau is in a very good position. Having made up 5 positions, he qualified this race on mediums. Very key thing to note here. Mikau, 10th position qualification on the medium compound tire. He's now on the hards to the end of this race, and all of the drivers ahead of him, I am going to assume, coming in again here. I do not believe their tires will carry them through to the end of this race with any kind of major pace. And you can see Ben the Bear and Trin having their exchange as Ben makes his way into 6th position. Trin has a little bit of a look back at him, but there really isn't much that Trin is able to do on these 13-lap-old mediums, and he knows it. And a variety of these racers have come in. Stars is going for another undercut opportunity here on Freeware. And this is Freeware now pushing on these 15-lap-old mediums. Penalties playing a role here for him. 9 seconds of penalties in it for Freeware. That makes the undercut even more powerful for Stars because he's going to have fresher rubber and the ability to, of course, have 3 seconds in the bag. Mikau now in 2nd position has Ben the Bear 1.5 off him in the rear. Big Al, now this was the curious call. He had that VSC pit stop, 2-lap-old mediums, 3.1 seconds to the drivers ahead. I think Al's made a good decision here, and Simdaga onto the fresh softs, I don't think has made the greatest of decisions in this race. I think that Sim may have been a wrong strategy call out of him on the rear of that Haas, conserving that battery. I think he had clear-cut pace over Big Al. At the very least, he had track position to pull that undercut opportunity that Al ended up pulling on him with the VSC. So it's been a very interesting look at strategy for those two. Of course, not a lot you can... Sim, not a lot he can do in that situation regardless. It's, you know, those minute differences, those tiny things that you really need to kind of look at, and Sim is doing that. Him and Al quite evenly matched. Ben has reined in Mikau now. Mikau has really just stepped in it for himself, though. Mikau's just taken 3 seconds. So this has essentially gifted Ben the Bear a little bit of comfort, as Ben has 3 seconds as well. So this has put him and Mikau on equal footing here, and Mikau really did not want to be doing that. He really did not want to be doing that here. He had an opportunity to take some serious position, given the fact that given the opportunity that he may have been able to stick with Ben. But Freeware needs a major gap, and he's come in. He's got these guys not very far from him. And something else here that really hasn't worked out for Stars is this undercut, because he was running with Freeware a little bit. Now he's undercut Freeware, but he has traffic. So Stars, DRS, fastest lap, for him. 116.146. We'll see what Freeware is able to pull out. Pit stop's coming through now. You see a lot of these drivers opting for that 2-stop. Ben the Bear and Mikau, the only 2 drivers opting for the 1-stop, and they're doing the medium hard. Everybody else here, soft, medium, soft, or in Ruben's case, he's doing a medium soft, soft, which is bold. Stars with these fresh softs, he's going to want to clear this traffic extremely quick. He cannot have this traffic in his way right now. He looks at the inside. Mikau sees him. Mikau knows it. And Mikau has no reason to let Stars through. Stars at the moment has 6 seconds of penalties. Freeware has just taken the fastest lap, a 1:16.037. Stars now with the DRS is going to have a clear-cut run on the rear of this Red Bull. The Ferrari, rear wing, wide open, moving down the inside. Easy as you like, just clear-cut speed with that rear wing wide open. So Stars into 3rd position now. He will be looking to hunt down Ben the Bear, and there is a major, major tire differential here. We are on lap 29 out of 36. I've been very, very much enjoying this race. I have to say, this has been quite a good race. A lot of tight overtaking. A little bit of strategy, given the fact that this is a 2-stop circuit mainly. However, Ben the Bear and Mikau right now, I think, are really trying to do something different here, given the fact that Mikau, he qualified 10th on the mediums. He's looking for that 1-stop. Ben the Bear, he has really, really been on a charge here. 13 positions gained for the tie driver. But it's about to be 12, as I think Stars here might get him. He might. He's got that DRS run now. Moving ahead on the inside. There you have it. Stars into 2nd position. The big thing is, will those softs hold him? Will they hold him in 2nd position? Coming out in that traffic was very, very bad for Stars here. He has 5 seconds the gap now to Freeware. He needs at least less than 3. Simdaga, 12 seconds of penalties at the moment for the Williams, and this is not going to be good for his chances. Trin at the moment is in a unique position because he is 6.3 seconds off of Ruben. Ruben has 9 seconds. So Trin, if he's able to bring down that gap to Ruben, he could net a position. Freeware is in trouble. I think that Ben might put his lead of this race at major risk. Stars has picked up 3 seconds as well to equalize him in Freeware. So the strategy and these battles for time and things like this, given the penalty situation, I always love to see how they unfold, and it really is intense when you see, a driver like Stars. He's got 3 seconds. 3 seconds is massive. 3 seconds less than a driver like Freeware, and then he comes across, the pressure's mounting. He takes a penalty. And then you have 2 drivers like Ben the Bear and Mikau with 3 seconds apiece only. Big Al there, not too far behind. They're going to really, really want to get into some final points position. Well, get some bigger points hauls, and these penalties, these racers, I can tell you, really kick themselves when they take these penalties. Especially if we still have potential for a safety car. That's something we haven't seen in this race, but It's especially in those races when you have those late safety cars. We saw a few of them last week in the United States, week of racing, and they really jumble things up. We saw Dirk Chocolate, for example, last week in the United States take a P5 from 12th on the grid crossing the line because he had no penalties. So Yukio, as I say, it has taken 3 seconds, and a nice little thing that you see all those penalties. The entirety of this grid has taken a corner cutting or an exceeding track limit penalty at some point. But you can see this race has really brought itself down to a battle on penalties and tire wear. So let's go down through it. Free wear and stars, 9 seconds. Ben the Bear, Mikal, currently within major range of some potential points for that front row. 3 seconds apiece for those two. You have Big Al, 3 seconds. Simdaga has had a very unfortunate time picking up 3-second time penalties. He's accumulated now 12 seconds. Ruben, 9 seconds. Trin combined 3 seconds apiece. You have Yukio there with 9 and Gazieg with 3 seconds as well. Look at these tires. The tire strategies have really been something else, and I think it's so sad for Stars here because he is so close to free wear right now for that 3 seconds that he needed. He only needed 3 seconds on where he was in order to get free wear, and well, he needed to be sitting right now at 3 dead or just underneath it, so 2.9, 2.8, so on. He needed to be just within 3 seconds of free wear in order to secure a race win. And now instead he's going to be a threat of not only losing the win, but a potential podium, I do believe, for Stars. I think he could lose a potential podium here. And he's been having a stellar performance throughout this race, and it was all thanks to that little pesky 3-second time penalty. Simdaga right now, look where he is. He's looking to make everybody eat their words in that. Well, there's penalties, but he wants to beat Big Al on track. These drivers, they always want to get it done on track. And we were talking about how he had so much battery in this fight against Big Al earlier, and we are on lap 34 now. And he has got no battery now. But he wants to get that P5 on track. I don't think he'll be able to do anything about the penalties. Ruben's got 12 seconds, so at the very least Simdaga may be okay here when it comes to Ruben. Trin's in a completely different story, however. And penalties, I think, are really going to shape this back end of things. Because we've got a yellow flag coming up through Sector 2. And I think that might have been Gazieg being overtaken by Freeware. Yes, he has now been lapped, Gazieg in the Haas. Simdaga on the hunt, trying to find a little bit of battery as it's now the penultimate lap of this race as Freeware is on his charge. You can see Stars is starting to actually pull off of Freeware a little bit. Now, something I can't fully explain to you is why the tires are currently showing up older for Stars than Freeware. Because it was the undercut that came out of Stars, meaning that he should have... Never mind. It's clearly too early in the morning. Simdaga with a clean-cut move into 5th, ahead of Big Al. But yes, the undercut would have older tires, obviously. Everybody in the chat's going, yes, Strif. And? Simdaga will be thrilled that he made it ahead of Big Al into 5th position. What he will not be thrilled about is the fact that he has such a large amount of penalties. And it's Freeware now coming through Stadium section on the penultimate lap of this race, who will be looking to take a win here. The clock is ticking down on this race as we are on the final lap. Ben is primed to strike here. Let's take a look. Freeware, 9 seconds. Stars, 9 seconds. And the Bear. I think he has a win. I think he has a win here. Big Al back on Simdaga. Sim with the DRS. Can he do anything? No DRS. It's actually Al. Yes, of course. With that DRS. Oh, and that is not going to be good for Simdaga. But let's take a look now. Freeware is absolutely flying through the S's here. Simdaga. No! We've switched off of Sim and he's had a major issue. The front wing has gone off that Williams. Trin is going to catch him. Freeware now is coming through. Oh, we're going to try. There's just nothing that Sim could do here. Freeware takes the checkered flag first here. Stars running out of the final turn now here in Mexico for the Oceanic Division. Takes second, but it's going to be Ben the Bear jumping both. Where does Mikau land? He comes across the line and he takes P3, and it's as predicted. Stars has lost the podium. Big Al now in 5th position. Where is he going to land with all said and done with penalties? 5th position for him. Ruben, 6. Trin, is he going to jump him? Trin now, the Ferrari coming out of the final turn. Where is he going to land? He has taken Simdaga at the end of this race, and Ruben has been jumped by the Ferrari combined in 8th. Simdaga now with no front wing will cross this line 9th, and it's Yukio coming out of the stadium section as the last driver to finish in the points here. Gazieg, the only driver to get lapped, unfortunately, has already taken the flag, and this will wrap up Mexico. Yukio rounding out the 10 drivers in the points in the McLaren. What a race. What an epic encounter that was. 36 laps of intensity, no safety cars, 1 VSC. Ben the Bear with a win from a very, very far back position on this grid. Mikau nets himself a podium as well as Freeware. And it was Stars in that Ferrari that just missed out. But let's take a look. 15th to first for Ben the Bear from pole position, losing out on penalties. He was the winner at the line, but the penalties just too much for him in the end there. Look at the time differential after the penalties came into this equation. It was less than a 10th between these two. Mikau from 10th to 3rd, neatly done. Stars, after a very good drive, will collect the fastest lap at 1:16.021. He started this race in 2nd in that Ferrari. He finishes 4th here. Big Al from 5th finishes 5th. That's a very consistent drive out of him. He had a very good fight with the Williams of Simdaga in that one. Trin from 7th to 6th, he nets a position. Ruben overall does get a few positions for the Renault squad. His teammate just the same in combined will finish 8th. Simdaga from 3rd will finish 9th in this one after some ups and downs, we'll say, in this race. Yukio from 9th will drop back a position to round out the points in 10th. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to wrap up the 10th round of Oceanic Division racing action here for the MRL. We have 2 more races coming to you this evening, wherever you may be joining us. If you're in Europe or in the UK, that will be at, well, Tier 2 action kicks off at 9:15 p.m. GMT, with Tier 1 action at 11:15 p.m. GMT, and those are at 3 and 5 p.m. CST, respectively. Those races are happening this evening, Thursday night racing MRL action. We are going to be rating a member of the community as always, so hopefully you will join us for that. I hope you enjoyed the cast. If you did, my name is Strifium. It is 7:45 a.m. here in Canada, so that was definitely a nice, bright and early race to watch. I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and we will see you all, of course, later for more racing. Tier 2, Tier 1 action coming up. We are going to hit you with the outro, and we are going to raid as always, and we will see you guys all later.